all the time with jazz is joy. The first letter in this music is J. It always stands for me for joy. In fact, that's probably one of the reasons people may take it for granted, because it seems so much fun and it's so enjoyable, and the musicians get so much pleasure out of it, and the audience gets so much pleasure out of it. Many times people don't take it serious. It is a very serious art form, but yet at the same time it's one of the most joyous art forms ever. And to demonstrate that, we have some of the world's greatest soloists today. Gerald Wiggins, Sherman Ferguson, and Clayton.
While jazz musicians play, people in the audience, other musicians as well as people who are not musicians, have reactions to what the players are doing. And one of the things that people often do is that at some point they smile. And there was a lot of that going on. At particular moments, what were those smiles about?
One of the particular things that I loved about it was the voicing and the harmony, especially some of the passing tones, which is some of the, what I call the inside stuff. If you're into sports, or if you're into art or dance or something, if you know that feel and you see somebody do something, it'll make you smile because you realize how great it is.
I think when he first started playing, and you can answer this if you know, but it sounded like he wasn't exactly sure which choice he was going to make as far as the tune he was going to play. And then he played some quotes and stuff in his improvisation that point out his witticism. He's a very witty person. And it comes out, usually what comes out of the person is what's inside of them, and that brought smiles to our face. Then he played some little quotes that, you know, that didn't have anything to do with the general song, but it was his take on what he felt like doing. And that's another one of the joys in playing music and playing jazz in particular, is that sometimes you surprise yourself because you're not sure what you're going to do either. When you sat down at the piano, did you know you were going to do Body and Soul?
No, I started to do something else.
See, that's what I meant. That's one of the things that made me smile. Because at first it was like, well, what am I going to play? And then he said, oh, yeah, he played something that made him think about Body and Soul. But I could tell the way he did that he didn't, you sit down, I'm going to play Body and Soul. It just came, the muses came to, to him and decided this.
I'd like to add one, the quotes. We've already talked about it, but people like Gerald Wiggins, they have, jazz music is all internal, everybody. We don't read music, not because we don't know how, because everything that we do has to be internalized so that we can give you our rendition or our idea of what that song is about. A person like Gerald Wiggins knows thousands of tunes, not hundreds, thousands of songs, and he has an amazing recall, as most musicians do. They have an amazing memory, and they can just sit all day long and recall and play all of these songs for you. That's how he's able to take pieces of songs and add them to this song.
Now that everybody has talked about what you were thinking and what you were feeling, what you were playing, we would like to hear something from you about what you just did.
What I try to do when I play a song, I'm addicted to quotes. So I like to play as many tunes within a tune as I possibly can. This particular tune, I've played it 1,000,000 times, and it's always different. I don't care how many times you play a song, you find something else to do with it. Sometimes it's good and sometimes it's not so good. You hope for the good times most of the time. With me, I've been pretty lucky. I don't have too many clams. A clam is a mistake that you would like to cover up. But sometimes...
An example of a mistake?
Beg pardon?
Can you give us an example of a clam?
Play a clam.
Play a clam.
Or something that you didn't plan to do when it came out and you turned it around.
It's hard for him to make a clam.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Do it anyway.
All right. You have to change that.
There's a clam.
Yeah, that was.
Okay.
You know what? I can't accept that.
You know, me either.
And you know why? Because we musicians, we jazz musicians, we stand in the corner hoping that we can minimize the clams.
Right.
Right.
And we play and we play and we play and we paint ourselves in and out of corners all the time. And so what I just heard from what Gerald was playing was, I heard him paint himself into a harmonic corner and then managed to get out. Because there was tension and there was release.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I think Jeff is going to play something. We're going to have this a great duo.
I have a question.
Would you please welcome them with a round of applause? Gerald Wiggins and Jeff Clayton.
Because the music came first, I'm allowed to play anything that my fingers touch, or that my ears hear. Hopefully my fingers will touch what my ears hear. The sound was before the music, and so if there is a sound that I happen to like, that I think fits in a space that I can get in and out of, then I'll choose to use it. Or if there's a color that I think that hasn't been introduced that might wake up my audience or tell my audience that here I am over here, then I might use that also. We're practicing a bunch of stuff that allows us to be spontaneous. And the spontaneousness of it is that we usually sing 1 split second before we play what we're going to play. Just a split second before I play, ba-da-da-dee, I'm going, da-da-da.
Well, the same thing you do when you speak.
Sure. Jazz is a language, just like this language. when you were young, you went through stages with your mother and father of, we called the Goo Goo Gaga stage. Hi, Mom. Say hi, Mom. Hey. Say hi, Mom. Hey. And then finally one day you said, hi, Mom. And from there it went on to potty and some more important things. Well, you amassed a working knowledge of, you put enough words together to create a language that helped your mother take care of you, and later on you put sentences and made those sentences into paragraphs. And then later, after that, you began moving those words around, juxtaposition and changing and making a new way of speaking that might even be recognizable if you were a poet.
For all four of the musicians, at what age did you start playing, and how did you learn the instruments that you played? Did you take lessons? Did you learn by ear?
Most cases, the instrument picks you. You know, I know the drums picked me. I know that the guitar picked Kenny. Piano, he wanted it. What happened with you,
They
Wig?
didn't pick him.
My mother made me.
Oh, I don't want to hear that.
Tell us the story. That's
Well,
a good one.
I had an older brother that my mother spent a lot of money on him. She bought him drums, trumpets, trombones, and everything musical, and he ended up driving semis. That's what he wanted to do. So she vowed that I would learn how to play piano, and she started me when I was 4 years old, and I never had a chance to forget it. I used to practice when I got home from school at lunch. I used to practice before I left for school. I used to practice when I came home from school. It was continually piano, piano, piano. I hated it with a vengeance.
How could you be so great if you hated it?
Well, when I got to my teens, if you could play piano, the little girls would come around at the parties. That was the key.
Somewhere around 11 years old, I heard some players that I thought were just incredible. I heard Freddie Hubbard, and I just thought it was unbelievable. And I wanted to play that kind of music too. And I also my brother's a jazz musician, so I looked around at all of his friends, and they would come to the house. Count Basie, can you imagine Count Basie's band is at your house having dinner? And it was the only profession that I could see that I could do that I didn't have to, it wasn't so tight and stilted. Everybody would hug each other and say, hey man, how you doing? They tell jokes, they get on the bandstand and have fun. And if that's all they had to do, I could do that.
This piece was an homage to Charlie Parker. It's his piece. The first part of that thing was more or less in Charlie Parker's language. That's his language. As Duke Ellington says, and I often say too, bebop. What is that word? They say the bebop era. I often call it the Diz and Bird era. You know, as far as I'm concerned, that's what it was.
I've had opportunities to play R&B and funk and stuff like that, and it's too boring for me to play the same thing over and over again. I've made a statement to friends. I said, man, if I could only play that kind of music, I'd be drunk and I'd be using every kind of thing just to get through the boredom of it.
travel like these guys around the world a lot and traveling. And once I was in Japan and I was in the hotel and I ran into this gentleman who was the first flutist with the New York Philharmonic, also taught at Juilliard. His name is Julie Baker. And we just got to, he was over there doing something, I was doing something. We just, musicians in a foreign land, we kind of got together. And we were talking and he was talking about one of his favorite students. His name is Hubert Laws, which happens to be a great jazz flute player. And he was, he was saying during lunch, he says, I'm so jealous of Hubert. I said, what do you mean? And I kind of knew what he meant, but I wanted him to explain it to me. He said, listen, Hubert could sit in my chair in the New York Philharmonic and do a great job, but after about a month or two, he would be bored to death. Just like Sherman said, he would be bored to death playing this other music. He said, Hubert would be bored to death because that's only half of what he can do.
One of the things I say to all my drummers is that this is a musical instrument. You have to play music on it. Most time when you go and hear a performance, everybody else plays music, then when the drum solo comes, the music stops. But I'm not gonna put up with that. I want my drummers to play music on that instrument. I want them to be a musician that plays drums.
So long, everybody. Woo. Time has come for us to leave your smiling faces again. Make a promise to remember like a Christmas day in December that we've been through thick and thin. Yes, we've been through thick and thin. Kenny Burrell's been your friend.
One of the reasons why it hasn't got the respect that classical music has gotten is because it hasn't been written about. It's improvised music, it's spontaneous composition. So a lot of the things we're talking about today, as I said earlier when we started class, you're not going to see that in the book.
I meant to just take it right on out.
That's
but-
okay.